This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
Looking back, it was pretty scary, because we were minutes away from losing her.
Your Honor has heard 4 days of testimony now. The evidence is overwhelming.
At no point was there ever an agent standing in front of the vehicle.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
A flood of problems. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. We begin in Pennsylvania. Western and some central portions under a flood watch until 10 p.m. And this afternoon has seen multiple flash flood warnings from strong thunderstorms that range statewide right now. Strong storms have keyed on the Keystone State of late, it seems. Heavy floods hit some areas early this week, leading to some dramatic rescues. Wheelchair-bound Newport Township resident Monica Thomas tells WNEP she had to be lifted out of her flooded basement apartment by firefighters.
Monday morning around 1 a.m. We were in bed. We were all laying down. I was falling asleep. And the next thing I hear is banging on my door getting kicked in. You got to get out. You got to get out. Flood.
The firefighters in that rescue say it was a close call.
We grabbed this woman. He had her shoulders, I had her feet, and we carried her up the stairs through the water. His water covered this whole area.
I guess looking back, it was pretty scary, because we were minutes away from losing her.
A second hero in this story, the landlord's friend, Sandy Wolf, who went door to door in the middle of the night looking for people who might be asleep.
Something told me to go down and get them out before something happens, which was the correct answer. More than 5 feet of water gushed in when they were evacuating them out.
Everybody was successfully rescued. However, Thomas's home was declared a total loss. The 5-day evidentiary hearing in the Charlie Kirk assassination case came to a close in Utah today, a week that a prosecuting attorney says produced overwhelming evidence that it was Tyler Robinson who assassinated Kirk during a collegiate speaking event, questioning why defense attorneys felt the need to parade in so many of their own witnesses for a hearing.
Your Honor has heard 4 days of testimony now. The evidence is overwhelming. It's devastating. And the question needs to be asked, the purpose of continuing with testimony if it's long and drawn out. Of course, the defense has the right to call witnesses, but it needs to be within the context of this preliminary hearing.
Judge Tony Graff now has to decide in the coming weeks if Tyler Robinson will be tried for murdering Kirk based on the evidence presented this week. Though there's no more ceasefire in place, a relatively quiet day in the Middle East after a couple of days of intense salvos between the U.S. and Iran. Fox's Mike Tobin says background talks are continuing.
Qatar negotiators are on the ground in Iran with support of the U.S. The immediate goal is de-escalation. Now, the president just posted to Truth Social that Iran asked to continue the talks. The U.S. agreed, but states that in no uncertain terms, the ceasefire is over.
Was Iran trying to assassinate President Trump? In a Wall Street Journal report, Israel says it uncovered a credible Iranian assassination plot against Trump and tipped off U.S. officials about it earlier this week, causing a change in which Air Force One jet Trump took home. Trump says he doesn't plan to sign a bipartisan passed housing bill in protest over the Save America Act not being approved yet.
The housing bill does a number of things, including streamlining environmental reviews, lifts rules on modular homes, and provides incentives through grants to build more housing.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The housing bill will automatically become law tonight after not being acted on by Trump. That's a pretty rare political occurrence. The Safeguard America Voter Eligibility Act would require proof of citizenship to register to vote and the presentation of photo ID to cast a ballot. A West Virginia man is the 8th to be indicted for allegedly plotting an attack on that UFC fight at the White House last month. U.S. Attorney Dominic Gerace II detailing the allegations against those men. The latest suspect, Chandler Skaggs.
We allege these men were not simply airing grievances from behind their keyboards and sharing like-minded political ideologies. Rather, they took action to carry out a plot.
The 21-year-old Skaggs was allegedly planning to act as a sniper at the event. Witnesses to the deadly shooting of an illegal immigrant in Houston, pushing back on claims made by federal agents. Attorney Hugo Baldera Ibarra represents 3 men who were in the van with the victim.
All 3 of my clients reiterated that at no point was there ever an agent standing in front of the vehicle, nor was an agent ever placed in the line of danger.
That contradicts the account of ICE agents who say the driver attempted to use his vehicle as a weapon. Is daylight savings time about to be sunset? just maybe.
The Sunshine Protection Act will revive past efforts to eliminate the twice-yearly clock changes. It's supported by President Trump and passed the House Energy and Commerce Committee 48-1 in May. Daylight saving time has been observed throughout most of the country since the 1960s, with the exceptions of Arizona and Hawaii. I'm Chris Coraggio.
All right, still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories for you. Highlights from today's staycation feature, the National Comedy Center in Jamestown. Plus, would you like fries with that? All coming up after weather.
Good evening. Here is the Family Life weather report. Do watch for some slow-moving showers and thunderstorms across parts of our area as we head into this evening. Some of the thunderstorms containing downpours, and that could lead to some localized flooding issues for some. Later tonight, we'll see some patchy areas of fog. Temperatures will be dropping back largely into the low and mid-60s. Now, as we head into tomorrow, it looks like a much better day, a little bit of fog in the morning. Otherwise, plan on a blend of clouds and sunshine. Still can't rule out an isolated shower or thunderstorm, especially south of the New York-Pennsylvania line. High temperatures will largely be into the low and mid-80s. Sunday looks gorgeous from hilltop to lakeshore. Plenty of sun. Highs in the mid-80s, back into the upper 80s with more sunshine on Monday. For Family Life, I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols.
All right, thanks, Josh. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. The mayor of Buffalo is considering a curfew after a dozen people were shot last weekend, mostly by teens in separate incidents. Democrat Sean Ryan.
We're going to look into it with our corporation counsel's office, but also talk to the mayors of Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany.
Councilwoman Zanetta Everhart says gun violence is an issue, but a curfew isn't the answer to it.
I will never say that it's not a problem, but guess what? If you're not dealing with the root causes of the problem, you're never going to solve the problem.
What's that root cause? She says it's rogue teens growing up in fatherless homes.
You have to give people what they need. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch of bored kids who are coming from traumatized neighborhoods, traumatized homes. They're dealing with all types of issues in their houses. What are we doing about that? Are we going to just keep ignoring it? Are we just going to institute a curfew and think that that's going to solve crime? Guess what? It's not.
Everhart wrapping up a town hall-style meeting this week with parents to try to brainstorm some ideas. She says she plans to take those suggestions to Ryan. A gut-wrecking foodborne parasite is sickening hundreds in New York and Pennsylvania. Nearly 400 cases of cyclosporiosis has been reported in New York alone. Health Commissioner Dr. James McDonald.
You get it through contaminated food or water, and it causes, among other things, explosive diarrhea.
The stomach bug is less pronounced in Pennsylvania right now, about 24 cases. Dr. Mary Rose Vila is an infectious disease specialist at Rochester Regional Health.
The most frequent sources of food that have been contaminated and led to outbreaks have been pre-mixed salad bags or cilantro, often vegetable products that have been contaminated and then are widely distributed.
Parasitic infections typically increase during the summer months. Doctors say most healthy people do recover on their own, but if those symptoms linger for several days, get in touch with your doctor. 2 Luzerne County, Pennsylvania firefighters are accused of calling in fake fire calls. Police say Zachary Gensel and Cody Wilson made multiple false alarm calls earlier this year while they were serving as members of the Ashley Borough Fire Department. According to investigators, they made the calls because they were bored while on duty. Both are now charged with false alarms to an agency of public safety. An unusual case in Bradford County, Pennsylvania, where authorities have arrested a man who was yelling because he couldn't find his lighter.
A property owner in the northern town of Wysox, Pennsylvania, called police last month to press charges against a man who was living under a water tower for several weeks and had been yelling for help. Police found 54-year-old Floyd Douglas living in a makeshift home with a bed. Douglas said he was yelling because he couldn't find his lighter. He's now in the county jail and has a hearing next week. I'm Michael Kastner.
All right, finally, the Taste of Buffalo set to kick off tomorrow. Organizer Adam Roma tells WIVB.
We've got over 40 restaurants. 13 of them are brand new this year. A revamped kids zone, bleacher seating along Delaware Avenue, and an amazing music lineup, including our Battle of the Bands winner this year. So there's a lot to do for the whole family in between bites as well.
The Saturday and Sunday event is a big boost for businesses.
Every year we find a handful of people that have never even known that we existed. They find us here and then they come and support us all year round.
Roma says there's no food like buffalo food.
We've got such an amazing food scene. I always find, when I'm traveling, can't wait to get back to Buffalo, eat some buffalo food as well. So having, over 40 restaurants in one location is a great opportunity for the public to come down and maybe try some restaurants they've never tried before and then spend a great day in downtown Buffalo.
Always some interesting things on the Taste of Buffalo menu this year. Honey garlic salmon, brownie mousse cups, strawberry cheesecake nachos, and a new peanut butter marshmallow banana quesadilla. All right. Up next, highlights from today's staycation feature. I had a few laughs, literally, with Megan Eckwall. She's Director of Marketing and Communications with the National Comedy Center in Jamestown, New York.
The National Comedy Center opened in August of 2018, and we are the official United States museum, cultural institution, and archive preserving the legacy of comedy for future generations. And the Comedy Center is in Jamestown, New York, because it's Lucille Ball's hometown. It was truly her wish, her vision, that the city of Jamestown become a destination that celebrates comedy as an art form, as well as a platform for rising voices within the comedy industry.
Was there any such thing as a museum of comedy before this?
There really wasn't. And that was some of the initial feedback we got when we began to tell the world of our intentions to create this place. There was not an institution preserving comedy specifically in the United States. The closest thing would be the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, who we have a wonderful working relationship with, and we actually just co-edited and co-published a book with a foreword by Mel Brooks, which you can get in our museum stores.
Another true icon of comedy who just hit his 100th birthday.
Yes, really, really exciting. And of course, we just announced that Mel has decided to place his archives here at the National Comedy Center.
Certainly a fitting tribute. Comedy is just so interwoven into our lives. I mean, in the state of the world right now, we've never had a greater need for a laugh now and then.
That's really true. Comedy, it's an art form that helps soothe us, challenge us. It really has kind of given voice to the American people. So we look at the Comedy Center as being a tribute to those innovators. Laughter is just so healing and wonderful.
Yeah, someone once said laughter is the best medicine. It certainly is true in a lot of ways. Tell us a little bit more about the Comedy Center. I know there's a lot of hands-on interactive exhibits that people can enjoy.
Immersive and interactive are such buzzwords when it comes to the museum experience today, but we really set out to create the center with those hands-on exhibits being the priority and the heart of the experience. So when you walk through the doors at the National Comedy Center, your first prompt is to create a sense of humor profile. So you're going to tell us who some of your favorite artists and TV comedies, movie comedies, funny projects are. And as you progress through the museum, engaging with exhibits that celebrate stand-up comedy, late night, sitcoms, movies, roasts, we're able to read your sense of humor profile and align the content being served to you with what hopefully makes you laugh. You also have a chance to create some of your own comedy content. You can create a cartoon strip, write memes, try your hand at comedy karaoke, as well as insert yourself into some iconic comedy moments in our green screen booth exhibit.
That's Megan Eckwall, Director of Marketing and Communications with the National Comedy Center in Jamestown, New York. You can hear our entire conversation. Staycations is online. All of our original features are as well at Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Proverbs 3:27 says, "Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it." Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. That truth comes to life in 2 Kings 7. During a famine in Samaria, 4 lepers discovered that the enemy camp had been abandoned. God had caused the army to flee, leaving behind food, silver, and gold. At first, the men ate, drank, and hid the treasure. But then their conscience awakened. They said, "We're not doing right. This day is a day of good news." They realized provision was not meant to be buried while others were hungry. That's a picture of generosity. Provision becomes worship when we refuse to bury what God may intend to bless someone else. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Thank you, Rob. Finally at 5.
Can I help you, sir?
I kind of want something other day.
French fries are pretty good.
French fried potatoes?
Yep, French fries.
Yeah, how about a side of fries with your 5 o'clock report? It's National French Fry Day, the all-American accompaniment to, well, pretty much anything. Be they regular, waffle, Belgian, steak, thick cut, crinkle cut, cottage, wedge, curly, shoestring, tornado, or smiley face. They've been around since the 1700s. Belgium, Spain, and France all claim to have originated them. Thomas Jefferson brought the dish known in France as pommes frites back with him and served what were renamed potatoes served in the French manner at the White House dinner in 1802. Today, Americans consume about 30 pounds of fries per person per year, and 7% of all the potatoes grown in the U.S. are used by McDonald's to crank out all of those salty fries. The most popular condiment for fries, well, ketchup, of course, ranch dressing, a distant second. One survey says 21% of people like to dip their fries in their milkshake. No thanks. And that's the world we live in for Friday, July 10th, 2026. Thanks again for joining us. Have a blessed weekend. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.